Hey, I'm Barbara Graves, and I'm the children's pastor at Momentum Church in Woodstock, Georgia. I'm really excited today to get a chance to share with you a little bit of my heart through this video. First, though, I did want to take a minute and thank Jeremy Collins and the Pajama Conference for letting me have this chance to participate with the children's ministry workshops. I thought in trying to decide how should I record this, probably the best place to do it would be outside, because really that's what I want to talk about today, getting outside, not so much outside in the Georgia heat when it's 90 degrees and 95% humidity like today, but to be outside your church, to get outside the walls of the building where we are and the ministries where we're comfortable, and looking at some outreach opportunities and what we can do in the communities where God's placed us. So before I do that, let me give you a little background about me and my ministry, and I think that'll give you a little perspective of where I'm coming from. Perspective on ministry is important. When people share their views and how they see different opportunities, a lot of that's determined by what they've done in the past, what they've seen, where they've come from. So maybe this will help you understand a little more of my perspective and how we're doing outreach. It's been a long time ago, but when I was 19 and I was in Bible college, God called me to children's ministry. It's been a very exciting few years. We don't have to say exactly how many that's been. We're just going to leave it. It's been a lot. We'll just say more than 30, and we won't go to exact numbers there. But it's been great. I've loved it. It's been a privilege, and most of the time it's been a lot of fun. So I've enjoyed that a lot. But most of the ministry that I've done has been in traditional church settings. Just a very typical Sunday morning. We have Sunday school, we have Sunday morning, we have Sunday night, we have Wednesday night ministries for our children. And those are the types of ministries that I had the bulk of my experience in doing. About 4 years ago, though, we moved, and in that move I found myself at Momentum Church, and to be honest, it was the outreach heart, I think, that probably drew me so much to Momentum to start with from the very beginning. Before I was even a volunteer or anything there, it was just a very different perspective. And from that, I think our children's ministry has taken that same perspective, that same flavor, because that's very much the DNA of our church. Momentum was a portable church at that time, a church plant. It's now 7 years old, and at the time when I came, we were meeting at a movie theater. We did that for a couple of years, and then the last 2 years we've been in a facility, so no more set up and tear down. Don't miss that at all. Pray for all of you guys who still do that. So that'll give you a little bit of a background of where my ministry experience has been, what type of ministry we've done. Coming into Momentum, the heart of the church has been very much about reaching the people who aren't there on Sunday mornings. So that is where my heart for outreach has gone. So I want to look at this and share with you maybe three points, three things to consider in starting an outreach ministry once you've got your Sunday services and everything the way that you want them. This all stirred in my heart about 1.5 years ago. I was just reading through Matthew in chapter 18. Jesus was talking about a shepherd. This shepherd had 100 sheep, and one of them wandered off. But wouldn't he leave those 99 and go and look for the one that was lost? And probably like me, read through that so many times before, but this day when I was reading it, it just seemed to jump off the page at me. And it was just like the Lord really spoke to my heart and said, this 99, these are the kids that you have in Sunday morning. These are the kids that come. These are the families that love ministry at Momentum. They're there. These kids learn their scripture verses. They do their take-home activities. These are the 99 that are here and that are safe and they're with you. But what about that one who's not here, that one that's not coming? And I really felt very strongly in my heart that that was the beginning of a push of how am I going to get God to that one kid who will never be in my building. He'll never come to my children's church. And ever since then, I have gone through classes. I've researched Twitter. I've Googled, I don't know how many things, trying to find different outreaches that are successful or not. Learn from unsuccessful ones too, but things that we could do to take God to people who aren't going to come to our church. And in doing that, like I said, I think there's three things that we need to make sure as we start this. The first one being that make sure Sunday's good before you leave that. I am probably the world's worst at wanting to have my hands into too many things at one time. I love having a lot of irons in the fire. There's a lot to do. There's a lot of kids that are hurting, and I think it's a common heart tug of children's ministers that if you see a need, you want to fix it, especially if it involves a child, and especially if that child is hurting. When we hear of children, whether it's here in my city or in another country, these children are hungry or they don't have clean water, your heart immediately wants to work on a project to help fund a missions trip or help dig a new well or build a new school. Those are things that just naturally you tend to want to do. If I find out that a family in our church or another church, or a family that doesn't even go to church in my city, but there's a family that is in need, then we want to do something to take care of that, because we just don't like to hear of children who are hurting. And so my tendency sometimes is to hear these projects, find out about a need, and want to drop everything I'm doing at the moment and run and try to take care of it. It's my responsibility to make sure that Sunday morning's taken care of before I go and do that. I need to make sure that my services that people are coming to and bring their children to are quality. That these are services that are bringing glory to God, because that's the purpose of Sunday morning service. It's to worship Him. We worship Him with our songs. We worship Him when we study His Word. We worship Him through giving. It's a worship service. And my first responsibility is to do that. Now, if you're at a church that has 100 people on staff for your children's ministry alone, you may have a person that all they have to do is take care of outreach. I will envy that position, but if not, like more of the people that I know who are in children's ministry, we probably have more hats to wear than we have people to do it with us. So take care of Sunday morning first. Don't abandon that to something that seems needed and new and exciting. Make sure Sunday morning's taken care of and that it's done well. And then leave it with your trained volunteers. Let them take the helm of that and run it. You've taught them, you've trained them, you enabled them, now let them do it. And that frees your hands and your time and your mind and your creative ideas to look to this new ministries that God may have put on your heart. So once Sunday morning's taken care of, once that's good and you can step away from that, then the next thing to do is to decide, what does your community need? Doesn't do any good at all if you have a great plan and you go out and offer something that's not needed in your community. One of the things that Momentum was doing very well when I came was serving our city. There are two things that my pastor set up soon after he came to Woodstock with the city to do. These are things that your church can do. They're great service opportunities. They're outside of the church. They give you great visibility, and it lets you meet people, be out in the community. These two things are the City of Woodstock has parades. So twice a year, for 4th of July and for Christmas, there's a parade the city puts on. one of the biggest headaches for that is trying to line up all the floats and the cars and the different groups that will be walking or driving in that parade. So Momentum's volunteers show up every morning on the parade day, bright and early, and we facilitate getting those floats and everything in line to where they go. We probably take 10, 15 volunteers each parade, and they'll spend the good part of the day getting people lined up. That's a huge help to our city, and our city officials have been very, very verbal to thank us for doing that. Another thing that we do every summer, City of Woodstock does Concert in the Park series. So once a month in the downtown square, there's an outdoor concert. And Momentum's takes in free water, bottles of water. We do face painting, and we make balloon animals for the kids. Free of charge. We don't accept donations. We just go and we serve our city. We make that event better for the families just by being there. And what we get from that is a chance to talk with people who are at the concert. We get to show the city that we really do want to help them, and we're not looking for anything in return. This isn't a bait and switch. It's not a we'll come and do it, but we're going to ask you later for a chance to say something religious at this event that you're doing. It's very straightforward. We are here to serve you. Along that line, you could go to your city officials and say, our church would like to help. What can we do that would serve you? What can we do to help in the city wherever you are? Those are good things. But for me, it wasn't really what I felt like the Lord had stirred in my heart a couple of, a year and a half ago now, about reaching the kid that's lost. What we have identified for us is that there's a big need for support groups for families that are taking care of foster children. There's very little for families just to get together and encourage each other. For the children, a lot of the children through the different agencies that they are placed from, whether it's DFACS or adoption services, a lot of those children get a small amount of counseling. But as far as ongoing activities with other children who have been shifted from home to home to home, to understand that, and with adults who are trained to know what type of characteristics to look for, what type of behaviors these children may exhibit, what kind of fears they may have, and how to encourage them and comfort them and talk with them. That's a big hole in our community right now. And so this fall we're hoping for Momentum to be able to offer some resources, some times to get together for families that are helping foster children. We have a couple of families in our church now who are doing that, but there's not a lot. We're going to open this up. This is mainly a community service, if you will. We'll probably offer it at our church as our facility to start with, and then from that just see what that grows into. This spring at the Orange Conference, I sat in a session with Matt McKee. You probably know Matt or follow Matt already. If for some reason you've missed that, you probably should pause this video, write down Matt McKee, M-C-K-E-E, write down his name, find him on Facebook and Twitter and follow him. He's a genius. But one of the things that he shared in his session was about using the social media that we have, different types of social networking, to allow your church to funnel, is the word he used, information to your community. So whether it's through Facebook or Twitter, use your church's website, use your church's facility, whatever it is that you can determine that your church can get to your community, then use those different technologies to let the community know we're here, we have this to offer for you, and put that out there to serve them. He talked in that session about how the church has kind of turned what Jesus did. When Jesus walked here on earth and he lived here, he would go into these communities. Most of the time, he would meet people's physical needs before he ever addressed their spiritual need. And I think we have pulled back as a church and asked people to come to us. We'll have a great program for your children. I'll have a great nursery to care for your child. I have all these things here. I want you to come to me. And Matt talked about and challenged us in that session to turn that back around. Let's see how we can get out into the community and take God, take His love and take His care to them. It may not be in a spiritual, religious form to begin with. We go out and meet a need that they have that's a physical need of some sort, whether that's food, whether that's clothes, whether that's support for a situation or a lifestyle that they're dealing with. But if we meet that need first, it gives us that relationship that over time allows us to speak into the spiritual needs of those people as well. So looking for a way that we can take what we've asked people to come to us and change that so that we can go be the church in the community where people are. And then from that and after that, once we've determined what it is that we need, we determine how we can get it to them, then the last thing you need to do is you need to share this vision. Because the vision, if you can do it by yourself, it's not going to be very big. Actually, if you have a vision that you can do yourself, that's called your life. If you can do it alone, go do it. That's the life that God's called you to. But if you want this to be effective, you're going to need other people to do it with you. In order to do that, you're going to need to share that vision and share your heart. You can put it in a bulletin. You can put it on your church website. You can list it, places around your church and let people know that way in writing. And you will probably have some success from that. But I've found over the years the best way to do that is to sit down with someone face to face and heart to heart and share with them exactly what you feel, what God's put on your heart, what you see as the potential that you can make a difference with. What changes can you make in your community? What difference can you make in the lives of these families in the area where God has placed your church? Sitting down with someone face to face and sharing that is always more effective than just a blanket statement of, hey, we need help. I take any help. If it comes from, I say, an announcement from the pastor, that's fine too. But I found that the people who hear my heart are the people who are usually willing to stand beside me as I start a new project especially. They can catch the vision. They can hear it not only with their ears, they can also hear it with their heart as well. And when they do that, then they can they'll join you. And then the neat thing about that is as they go on, they will go and continue even when it's up and running, things are good. You'll have someone to hand that off to when you step back. Once this vision that God's given you comes to fruition, once you have this new group in place, this new support program going, this new after-school program, whatever it is that you do, once that's in place, it's not over. It's not time to sit back and relax. You take a couple of weeks off. We found that usually God has a new vision and a new direction and something else to do. In 30 years of ministry, I've never got to the place where He says, I can't imagine anything else for you to do. Just go ahead and relax from here on out. It doesn't happen. there's always more. But you've got people who were with you from the very beginning of that. They will usually gladly take it and continue that and allow you to step away, excuse me, and start whatever is the next thing that God puts on your heart to do. With that, that's my encouragement to you today. Get out of your church. Get outside. Find what it is that God will enable you to do in your community and make a difference there. If you do, I would love to hear about it. You send me a tweet. You can catch me on Facebook. I would love to hear what you've done, any outreach ideas you've got. God bless you. Thanks very much for listening.